I'm going to discuss about a grammatical topic. The topic is entitled as voice. It is commonly known as active and passive voice. Active and passive voice. So, first of all, let's understand what is voice. Simply, it is the form of a verb. It means voice is a form of verb that shows relationship between action and the subject in a sentence. It means voice is a form of verb that shows relationship between action and the subject in a sentence. Simply, look here in the sentence, he rides a horse. This is a sentence. Here in the sentence, this sentence is in active voice. It is in active statement. It is an active statement. So in the statement, what is shown that he is subject, a horse is an object here. So, and rides is a verb. So, only this form of verb, rides, here represents the relation between the subject and the object. So, this relation between subject and object can be regarded as voice. This is the general concept of voice. Now, let's move further. The voice can be divided into two types: active voice and passive voice. So, as active voice, it can also be called active statement. Passive voice, it can also be called passive statement. So, let's discuss about active statement or active voice. What is active voice? Active voice is a set of forms or a form of a verb in which the subject does the action. It means in active voice or in active statement, it is shown that subject does the action. For example, Sarita studies English. It means Sarita is doing something. So if the focus is on the doer, the subject, it is active statement. If we talk about the structure of active statement is SVO. It means S means subject, V means verb, and O means object. So in the sentence, Sarita is subject, studies is verb, and English is object here. So the structure of active statement is very simple, SVO. Now the matter is how to find subject and object in a sentence. To find out subject and object in a sentence, we have to question using the word who and what for the sentence. And the answer of this who question and what question related to the sentence helps or becomes subject and object in a sentence. In simple term, it means you have to question using who and what in the sentence, and the answer of these questions will be subject and object in the sentence. Another simple technique is that a noun technique, though it will not work everywhere, but in simple sentence it will work. The technique is, if a noun is before verb, it works as a subject, and if after verb it works as an object in a sentence. It means a noun or pronoun before verb. Noun or pronoun before verb is subject, and noun or pronoun after verb is object. This is a simple technique to find subject and object in a sentence, but it will not work everywhere, but most of the cases it will work in simple sentences. So this is a technique to find subject and object in a sentence. Now let's talk about passive voice. What is passive statement? Passive statement or passive voice is a form in which the subject is affected by the action. It means the subject undergoes through action. Look at this example. English is studied by Sarita. It means English is given more focus, not the Sarita. It means Sarita undergoes through the action of studying English. So focus is on action, not on subject. But in active sentence, the focus was on subject. So if we talk about a structure of a passive sentence or passive voice, its structure is the object of active sentence is written as subject in passive plus verb be plus V3 plus subject of active sentence is written as object in active sentence. It means the object of active is made subject in passive plus verb be plus V3 plus by plus subject is written as object in subject of active is written as object in passive. Object in passive. Here is a mistake in typing it. The overall structure of passive sentence became object as subject plus verb be plus V3 plus by plus subject as object. So this is the structure. We will discuss it more clearly in next slide. Now let's see the comparison. It will make you understand very clearly. As I told earlier that the structure of active sentence is SVO, but the structure of passive is a little difficult. So how we change an active statement into passive statement, that is the main matter here. It means active statement into passive, active statement into passive. This is the main matter that we have to learn. So see, the first is the subject of active voice. The subject of active voice is written as object in passive, and object of active is written as subject in passive. It means first we put object of active sentence in or adds subject in passive, like Sarita and English. Sarita is subject here of active sentence, and it is English is object here. So what we do that, first of all we put object as subject. So this English object is written as subject in passive. Then we add verb be according to the tense and aspect of the active sentence. Then we add V3 of the main verb. We write V3 of the main verb. Studies. Its V3 is studied. Then we add an agent by or conjunction by. Then what we do that, we write subject of active sentence as object in passive sentence. Object in passive sentence. Like the Sarita is subject in active sentence and it is made object in passive sentence. It means, first of all, while changing subject and object, we pick object of active sentence. We pick object of active sentence and write in as subject in passive. It means object of active becomes subject in passive, and subject of active becomes object in passive. This is the first step that we have to understand. Object of active becomes subject in passive, and subject of passive becomes object in passive. Then we follow, after changing object as subject, we follow the rule of verb be, then V3, then by, then object as, subject as object. So this is the structure. The structure of active sentence is SVO, and the structure of passive sentence is object as subject plus verb be plus V3 plus by plus subject as object. So this is the structure of passive sentence. Now let's see, why is passive statement used? It means, why we use passive statement? The first thing is that when we have to give focus on the action, if action is more important than the doer or subject, we use passive statement. And if we want to focus on the action or result instead of the doer, look at this sentence. The homework was completed on time. It means we have to give focus on, we have given focus on homework. It doesn't mean whose homework was completed on time. The doer is not important for us. So if the doer is not important for us, but we have to focus on action, we use passive statement. Another thing is that when doer is unknown, if subject is unknown to us, but action is known, we use passive statement. For example, the window was broken last night. The window was broken. But we don't know who broke it. So if we have to talk about action but the doer or the subject is unknown, we use passive statement. Another example is, my bike has been stolen. So the reality is bike has been stolen, but the thief or the doer is unknown. So in such case we use passive statement instead of using active statement. And that is, if doer is not important, only action is important, we use passive statement. The road is being repaired. So the action is important, the road is being repaired. We don't need to mention by the government or by the workers. So the doer is not important, only the action is important. English is spoken all over the world. So the matter is English, speaking English, and it is very clear that people speak English, not the animal. So the doer is not important here, the action is important. If we say that English is spoken all over the world, what does it mean? People speak English. It is general sense that who speaks English? People. So the doer is simply clear. So in that case we use passive statement. And that is, if we have to use formal language or if we have to write for scientific writing, we use passive statement. It means the passive statement is more formal. Look at this example. The experiment was conducted in a laboratory. This is a passive and seems more formal. Data was collected from 100 students. This is a sentence that can be used in scientific writing. So in such case, in scientific writing or in formal language, in formal writing we mostly use passive statement. This is the one matter. The another is, sometimes passive statements are more polite than active statements. Means passive statements are more polite than the active one. If you say someone, you have stolen my pen. You have stolen my pen. If you say this sentence to someone, it means you are directly blaming to him. Though you don't know who has stolen your pen or how you lose your pen. But if you say this sentence to anyone, you are directly blaming him. So it can be less polite. It can be abusive language. But if you say the same thing, you can say, my pen has been stolen. It will be more polite, or you won't blame anyone about the action related to your pen. So sometimes passive statements are more polite than active statements. Now let's talk about the most important thing, is that how to change an active statement into passive statement. Changing active statement into passive statements, or active sentence into passive sentence, or passive voice into active voice. So this is the most important part, where we have to give full concentration to learn. I have picked the 5-finger rule related to changing passive voice into active voice. Let me discuss the rule. What is the 5-finger rule? It means while changing an active statement, you have to change 5 components or 5 things of active statements, and the sentence becomes passive. So if you change 5 components of active sentence, it will become passive sentence. So that is 5-finger rule. So let's talk each one. The first rule is object of active is written as subject in passive, means object into subject. Look at this sentence. This sentence is Ram married Janaki. In the sentence, married is verb and Ram is a noun. Ram is used before verb, so it is subject, and Janaki is also a noun and it is used before verb, so it is object. So the first step is that we have to write object as subject in passive, means object of active is written as subject in passive. So we pick the object first and write as subject in passive. So Janaki is object and Janaki is written here at first as subject. So in passive, this is the first step that we had done by changing object into subject. So in passive, we made subject. This is the first rule. The second rule is that add verb be. Verb be means is, MR, was, were, be, being, and been, and being. So these are the verb be we use in passive voice or in voice. So after changing object as subject, we add verb be according to tense and aspect. So look at this sentence. Ram married to Janaki. So we have already done the first step, object as subject. Then this verb married represent past. It represent past tense. So for past tense we use is, MR. For past tense we use was, were. For present tense we use is, MR. So married is V2, it represents past tense, so we use was. As Ram is singular and singular text, singular verb, so was is used here. It means in second step we deal with verb be. This is the second step. Then the third step, what we do that we change main verb of active voice into past participle, means third form of verb. After verb be, we change main verb of active sentence into past participle, means V3. So the main verb is married here. Main verb is married, and now we have to change married into V3. So V3 of married is married, or past participle is married. So this is the third step that we changed. So up to here we completed 3 steps. The first step is we changed object as subject, then we added verb be, then we changed main verb of active sentence as past participle in passive sentence, then we add preposition, generally by. After V3 in passive we add by or to or under, with or in. Generally by is added. So generally by is added, but with some verb we have to use different preposition like to, under, within. So generally with married we use to as a preposition. So married to. So we here as fourth step we added to as preposition. Then the last stage is subject of active is written as object in passive. So Ram is subject is written as object. So Ram is subject. So Ram is, we put this Ram at last as object. So subject is changed as object or written as object. So these are the 5 steps that we have to keep in mind while changing an active sentence into passive sentence. Again I repeat in short. The first step we do that. First we pick object of active sentence and write it as subject in passive sentence. Then we add verb be according to tense and aspect. Then as third step we change the main verb of active sentence as to past participle. Past participle means V3. This is the third step. Then the fourth step is we add a preposition by. In general, by, to, under, with, or in. Generally we use by. This is the fourth step. And the fifth step is that we write subject of active sentence. We write subject of active sentence as object. Subject is written as object. It means subject is changed into object. First we change object into subject. Then we add verb be plus V3 plus by. Then we change subject as object in passive. So this is the general